Good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Evil Dragon XXL and welcome to Algarve. Welcome to the epitome of the rain. Welcome to what is currently the menu screen because you haven't started yet. But welcome to the last race of this decade for GT3 and the last race for me of this decade for GT3 commentating, and lots of things in the last decade for all these drivers, unless they're racing after this before the end of the decade, in which case it's not the last race for them. But I have my special guest who's been here the entire season. It's not really a special guest, but flow with it. Say hello again, as per usual, to my colleague, my buddy old pal. It is Mr. VSR Thomas. Ethan, how are you, my friend?
I am very good, thank you. It's nice to be back again. It's a very, very emotional time, Evil, as we are now hitting the end of a decade. 10 years have flown by way too quickly. Been here nearly 2 full years in AOR, ending another decade, and quite a cracking race is ahead of us, Evil, for the end of 2019. Well, at least until we get back for next race, but this is the final race of 2019. Algarve, Portimao, very, very good track. We're in the rain today, unlike last time we were here, which was in the dry, so the drivers have got a lot of puddles to negotiate here, but it's going to be very emotional times today, I reckon.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of intrigue and thing. Remember the rain as well, we're going to be falling. Now, we have been briefed, as the drivers have as well. Qualifying will be an extra 5 minutes early. However, well, it'll start 5 minutes earlier, but we'll get 5 minutes, of course, longer. This is due to the guys here at AOR, the stewards, have decided that it won't be wet enough for all the drivers when they come out. So to make it fair and make sure everyone has a wet and taily time, they're going to make sure everyone has to wait in the pit lane for 5 minutes. So if we see one driver come out 5 minutes early or 1 second early, they will be beaten by the gods, basically. But what that does mean is we have a lot longer to go through, of course, all of the drivers and all of the team standings as well. And don't forget, if you're just joining us here live or watching later on, to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell as well, and follow the Apex on Racing on Twitter, of course, as well. All of the links should be in the description. If I'm not mistaken, they should be. But, Ethan, it's going to be interesting to see Algarve, wet. The circuit oftenly has a lot of standing water around about turn 3.
Yes, it does have a lot of standing water, obviously, because it does go uphill turn 3, so there's a lot of water waiting at the bottom of that turn. I do think it does actually nearly accumulate a 75% of the track width there. So, and it's on the right-hand side, and turn 3 is a left-hander, so obviously some drivers are going to be really careful going through that section, because you want to open up that turn as much as possible by going to the right hand side, but that's pretty much going to be a lake at some point during qualifying all the race. So drivers are going to be quite limited to where they can go on track without aquaplaning across the track, as my phone is going absolutely berserk right now. Let's turn it onto silent mode.
Wasn't me.
As we start qualifying. So yeah, you said 20 minutes in time. Obviously the drivers have to wait 5 minutes to ensure that it's a fair playing field, which I think is a good move by the stewards, because obviously the rain physics in project cars, although can be very, very mesmerizing and almost lifelike because of the live track 3.0, sometimes there is obviously the fair issues. Obviously, you know, games, they can only do so much, and sometimes the rain can be quite imbalanced sometimes. So just to make it fair for all the drivers, they gotta wait 5 minutes so the track is properly dampened up, so it's all level and all that, which is good. But it does give us time to run over the track, run over the cars, run over the standings, and see how the standings have changed after the brilliant race at Hockenheim. If you haven't checked that race out, I do suggest you go check it out, because that race between the top 4 was pretty much from start to finish. So if you want a good piece of action to watch after this week's race, I do recommend you go back and look through the playlist on AOR's channel. But here we are in the wet conditions at Portugal, Evil. And it doesn't look too bad at the moment, but give it a couple minutes time, I'm sure it's going to be really, really bad.
Yes, indeed. Well, of course, Algarve, a circuit pretty much not renowned for raining, being it is in Algarve, of course. Portimao Portugal, if you don't know, the circuit is based up. The circuit itself is 2.92 miles or 4.7 kilometres long. That, of course, goes around the very luxurious and very pretty dip between the mountains, of course. We'll take you on an outlap when everyone goes on circuit. But a little bit of history on the circuit. Located near the town of Portimao, I believe that's how I pronounce. I'm not Portuguese,
Portimao,
so I can't pronounce words.
Portimao?
Portimao? Who knows?
Yeah, Portimao.
It was a circuit built with the sole intention of attempting to get Formula 1 to Portugal for the first time in a long time, since the 1990s, of course, when they raced at another beautiful circuit in Portugal as well, which has slipped off the top of my tongue. But, alas, financial problems meant it couldn't happen. Now, financial problems that often happen. The plans of this circuit were built and designed in 2002. The circuit wasn't built until, of course, 2008. And since then, we've had many different types of racing. Moto 2 raced here, MotoGP raced here for a few seasons as well. The ELMS race here as current. The, of course, the FIA GT Championship, the Le Mans World Series used to race here as well. GP2 as well. A lot of history on this circuit, and it also has a 32-hour endurance race held here and since 2014. So if you like lots of driving for 32 hours, then come here, I suppose, Ethan, eh?
I think 32 hours is a bit of it. Someone's left the pit lane accidentally there. But I've never heard of a 32-hour endurance race. I know there's a 24-hour race, a part of the 24-hour Hankook series, and that does visit the Algarve circuit. Some people doing some burnouts, trying to warm up the engine. It's not a bad idea, to be honest, but yeah, this circuit used a lot by other series. Series obviously that doesn't require as much money to run. Obviously Formula 1, they require grade 1 circuits. Obviously some circuits in the world are grade 1 and other series do use them, but it just allows the track to be more flexible. I think it allows it to use more categories and gain some more attention from other target audiences. Obviously the guys who like endurance racing, prototypes, GT cars and all that. And to be honest, I think this circuit really does suit those type of racing. It has the long flowing corners, also the slow corners for overtaking, the undulation of like other tracks like Bathurst and Nürburgring, whilst also retaining kind of that danger. I mean, the final turn, Evil, that sweeping right-hander that goes downhill, it's flat out in the dry, and even in GT3 cars. I don't know what it's going to be like in the wet, but we've seen drivers go off there in the past. I remember during the stream, obviously I was racing at that point, but last time we raced here, EPR Archer, he went off at turn 1 into the gravel at quite some speed. Obviously it wasn't caught, but the aftermath of it was caught. So this track can catch people out. It does have that hint of danger, which obviously is not a great thing to see half the time, but it does have that motorsport aspect, and danger sometimes is what makes motorsport great. But it's raining, so I doubt we're going to see many high-speed accidents, but a lot of the slow-speed accidents at especially that tight hairpin at the middle point of the circuit.
Yeah, of course, down towards Toro Vip for the corner race. Of course, Toro VIP could add its name, of course. If you don't know this circuit, we've got 50 seconds before we get to find out where the giant VIP tower is. Of course, at the last corner in the where I've experienced it a few times. Getting out there, if you get too wide, that puddle obviously sticks just off the racing line. Watch out for that. It can throw your car wildly down, either right or left, and that pit lane sticks out very quickly when you're going towards it sideways, and hitting it isn't the best. But yeah, downhill, right-hander, almost flat in most cars on this game. Like I said, in the wet, it should be a small lift-off. Turn 1 and 2 is always going to be interesting thingy for me. Seen it before when we last came here. A lot of drama, a lot of contact as well. It's a flowing little corner, and I think people are all getting ready to go, and I think someone has already decided they're coming out now. So someone's bolted very early on, and who's that who's bolted early?
Well, they're coming out now, so the 5-minute window's opened up. All the drivers are probably going to come out now. It's Tinnis getting the early traffic. Good job. You see all the puddle already on the exit of the pit lane. Quite a big puddle, but you can see just the undulation of the track. If you recognise this track from anywhere, it's probably from the Season 1 Grand Tour Episode 1. the Holy Trinity. You can see what I mean about that puddle on the right. You see how late the cars have to come back over to the track to open up turn 3. Obviously the track in the Grand Tour looks very beautiful in the summer days, but at the moment it's dark and gloomy with all this rain. You can see a puddle there in the middle of the apex there. So these drivers take on wide lines, which does give them more grip, but not optimal really. There's not really a wet line on this game, which is a shame, but you got to make do with what you've got. Since starting that outlap evil, it's time to go over the standings. Gaza and Tinnis, 18 points separating. So once again, it's going to go down to the wire. Whoever comes out on top is going to gain more points, obviously. But this race could be the deciding factor here. If one of them retires, that could be it. If Tinnis falls behind 35 points in this race, that's his championship over, and Gaza has 1. And same, actually, never mind. I could be wrong. Benji. Boyraxa, formerly known by his PSN, is only 22 points behind, so he's even further away. But if those two retire, that's the championship decided for Gaza. But if those two finish in the top 3, it's going to go to the final round at Spa, which would be really, really cool to see. And I hope that does happen, and I think it will happen personally. I do have a strong feeling that Boyraxa and Tinnis will be able to keep the gap close to Gaza going into the final round. Then in 4th place we have what was the former former championship leader, Jazzman. He has dropped well off the gap now. He didn't even get to start last race, did he? He disconnected after qualifying. He is now 51 points behind. 5th place, Dylan, last time out, was the winner at Hockenheim, is only 46 points behind him, so Dylan could grab 4th potentially if Jazzman has a bad race here or doesn't even make the race or disconnects the Spa. So Dylan within a shout of P4, who is tied with Jam. So 5th and 6th could be decided this race or decided next race. So we have got a lot of battles going on in the top 10, and obviously outside the top 10 are the drivers who rarely finish the race, who unfortunately just retire way too early and don't accumulate those points. But either these last 2 races really are the deciding factor. If drivers keep these battles going on, it's going to go into the final round at Spa, which is a 90-minute reverse grid with double points. That race is going to be the ultimate race, because with double points on for grabs, those drivers are going to be making sure whatever happens here today is going to give them a good slingshot into the next race to accumulate the maximum points they can.
Yeah, indeed. Well, let's go on and on more of that then with our potential 2nd place, potential championship leader. Who knows what happens after the end of this race? There's a bit of a squiggle on through the last couple of corners. So let's take you on a hot lap around this 2.9 mile Algarve circuit then. So here we come then, out of the last corner, down what is called the Galp then. Then they come up over the crest. Watch out for the puddles that ultimately form around here. Now you can catch you out. Down the long straight they go. Down towards turn number 1. Watch for the braking zone here. Chuck it downhill into the braking zone. Let the dip bring you up through turn 1. Land it into Kramer corner. Then into turn 2. Down into Lagos then. Into what is turn 3. We go. Once at the puddle on the inside, that'll very much catch you out. Then 2 through turn number 4. Build the power back up then and look out there. A little bit wide for him there, so that might have cost a bit of time. But carrying on then. Past the VIP area, down to Torre de VIP. And down there into the hairpin. Once out again for the puddles. You can't take the apex at all. And then you build the speed up then. Up to the next corner. That's turn 6. Create the left-hander. You come in then. Down towards turn 7 and 8. Again, another flowing long double right-hander then. Into the first, into the second Samsung corner. Oh, hook up the exit then. Then you come up to this very scary action. This is Craig Jones, named after the motorbike driver who tragically lost his life in 2008. The man who helped build this circuit down into Portofino then. Named after the city not too far away from here. And then build it down the hill, then down towards turn 11 and 12. And what's out here on the exit, we've seen how easy it is for cars to lose the rear end on the power, and just how tricky it is. Then into Zagaros, then the penultimate corner on this circuit before a little sprint down towards the final corner of Galp. This is where you really want to build the speed back up, then about 170, 180 kilometers an hour up over the crest then. A small lift off for the cars as they rise over the top of roads will spin the car. Tyre wear will very much be screaming out agony through the gap, back over the crest, and that is a lap round Algarve, and that should be P1.
No, he was down. Actually, no, his lap time may have even been... Oh, no, he does set a lap. The timing line's further down the straight. But it's Gaza and Boyraxa, like I said. The Mercedes, once again, very good. It's been good at all the races so far, and it proves again. But looking at the timing sheets, Jam is in a good spot. Jam in the Audi, 49.9. That is a really good lap. Coco and the Ferrari goes off circuit there, so the Audi should be in theory quite good here. The wet conditions do certainly suit the car, and it does seem to be that case because Jam's managed to hook that car up quite nicely and getting into the 49s, albeit about 5/10 off Gaza, maybe a little bit less. I mean, even Papano just about a second out. So Jam and Papano really getting that Audi to work in the rain. However, drivers like I expect to be up there. Lewis definitely one of them. I do highly rate him in the wet. Currently sitting in 11th, 1.8 seconds off the pace. I expect him to at least be in the top 5 in the wet with his track record in the wet. He got all his podiums last season in the wet, and his 2 wins even were also in the wet, and he's nowhere near where really he could be.
Getting a nice little toe off that's VSR Wolf there, the sole VSR driver currently racing things. The other one's indisposed in the commentary box, I suppose, right now, but nonetheless, Wolf down there in 6th position as he's getting himself in a bit of a spot of bother here with Skull there. Skull trying up the inside and trying to race Wolf, and Wolf's not going to be best pleased with that, but
Well, who's actually on a lap at the moment? Is Lewis on a lap or is Dylan on a lap?
They both are on a lap, but
You sure? Because Lewis was 35 seconds down on his thing. It looked like he may have been on a cool-down lap or an out lap.
Very interesting indeed. However, well, it is meaning that it looks to me that the Audi, in the wet, as per usual, has a bit of pace today. And the top 4 all separated by 4 tenths a second. There is the second Audi. Then of Jam, currently 4th. And of course the top 3, Tinnis, Boyraxa and Gaza. Gaza wins here today. An extended championship, what was it? 35 points for a win. Second place, what is it? 20.
I'll find for you now. It's 30, I believe.
30, still about over
30 points, yes. And obviously Boyraxa and Tinnis, well, Tinnis on 18 points, Boyraxa on 22. So the championship battle, if Gaza wins, Boyraxa and Tinnis and Boyraxa finish in the top 3, the championship will go to the final race.
Yes.
So it's basically between the top 3. So whatever happens here is going to have a crucial decider on next race, because even if Gaza doesn't finish first, if he still finishes at least in the top 5, it will still carry on into the next race.
Yeah, he needs this position. He needs wherever he finishes now. It's going to be key for the championship. Remember, Boyraxa goes P1 by 2/10, just under 3/10 seconds, so I say. Next week, it is a reverse championship order and 90 minutes. So that is going to be...
points.
And double points as well. So, that means if you're going to score 35 points, you'll be scoring 70 points. And, of course, vice versa, 60. So, really, for these guys behind, they ideally want to be getting within about 10 points, give or take. So they really need Gaza to at least score 3rd or 4th in this race of Tinnis winning. Oh, well, so Boyraxa really needs to win this race, and Tinnis 2nd if he wants that championship to close down. So they get on to 10 points. They've got a very big shout indeed of the last race.
Yeah, very much so. And it's not just the top 3, it's also the guys behind. I mean, drivers like Papano, who is far down the order. I mean, look at where he is at the moment. Where's Papano? He is sitting in 3rd. So that's 2 Audis in the top 5. So that's very good to see. Obviously, Spa, the Audi is actually quite a formidable car there. You might think Spa might be a bit of a Lamborghini Mercedes fest. Actually, the Audi is actually well within in clutches of the other 2 cars, so it is capable of holding its own there. And drivers like Papano, if they can get a decent race, they can jump up a lot of points. Papano sits 10th at the moment. He can jump up to maybe even 6th possibly if he gets a good race there. So the drivers who don't often score but have a lot of pace can make up a lot of positions in the last race of the season. So these drivers want to be trying to maximise their race here, carry that momentum into the next round.
Indeed, well, you mentioned 10th position, and that's turn 3 normal lines they take there. I think I've seen about 6 cars go off so far in this race now. I don't think there's much of a penalty for going wide there. But Lewis, so far 10th place, gold 1808. He's not born in the year 1808 because that'll make him very old. Then again, saying that hopefully Vector's not born in the year 666. I'll talk about Vector, crossing the line right now in the second of the pad team. And so far stays 13th position, having a rather torrid time. Was in London very much recently, having a good time on the jolly old island that is Great Britain, so I hope you enjoyed it, because definitely is an intriguing place sometimes. Well, Jab and Papano, the other 2 Audis so far, 4th and 5th, doing a stellar job, and it's the top 3 of Boyaraxa, Gaza and Tinnis, an almost reverse championship order so far. And Boyaraxa doing what he has been doing so far this season, just being gentle. Remember, Tinnis, who is 2nd place in the championship, still yet to win a race.
Yeah, very much yet to win a race. It could be here, but he sits 3 attempts off, and you saw what happened last time. He was there with the Mercedes. That would be Dylan, Boyaraxa and Gaza. But he ended up dropping off due to a mistake, so he can't be really making these mistakes, especially so close to the end of the championship. But then again, he is going to have 2 weeks to practice for Spa if he has the time. Obviously, next week, this time next week is going to be Christmas Day, and we won't be racing on Christmas Day. We'll all be having a break to enjoy the Christmas events and festivities, so it makes sense for that. But there's plenty of time for drivers to have a break, have a call off, then get back into the hot seat of their cars and go racing for one last time in season 14 in a new year. But someone who has taken my eye, Evil, is Jazzman. Someone who has won majority of the races this season. That being 1, 2, 3, 4 races, is sitting in 7th. These past races have not gone his way. I mean, granted, he won France with absolute dominance. Like, he led led every lap. But he didn't finish last race. He didn't even get to start last race, and he sits 7th. And from what I heard, Jazzman had a lot of pace this race, but that doesn't seem to be following through. Now, I had a little birdie told me the undercut is very powerful here, so we'll see if some drivers use that to their advantage. Obviously, wet weather driving, there's going to be a lot of open strategies. Some drivers may be taking it more carefully, some might just be gunning it from the start. But it's all going to come down to wet weather control and car control. How are the cars set up? How the drivers want to negotiate the track in the wet? And that's where we're going to see the drivers that come into their zone. It's Papano not even attempting to stay on track there.
Taking an old IndyCar line,
yeah.
I might say, isn't it? Like,
yeah, very much. Yeah, it's not nice to see. I do like to see the cars stick within the lines. I mean, granted, wet weather driving is not easy, but there's track limit abuse and then there's that. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see what the drivers can do. As you can exactly see there, that puzzle is taking up majority of the track now. And that's only in qualifying. That's only after 15 minutes. And it's going to be raining through the entire hour of the race. So it's going to be very interesting to see. But the order has not changed much, has it?
I don't think anyone's going to improve. I mean, Venture's up on his time. It's just getting that point in. We've seen it before. It becomes too wet out there because the live weather, when you've got it set to just rain, it just carries on raining and the puddles will form very quickly indeed. Look at the size of the puddle through, that's the second last corner. And you come up down the gulp, and what's that for the last corner as well? You've seen how easy it is to drop a car, and I've seen experiences. Don't want to get on that white line because it will snap, and it snaps very hard indeed. Because you're coming off a little compression, you can see how low it is. You dip up, and then up the hill. Vectro P13, disappointing qualifying for him. Almost out qualified, a second almost behind his teammate, I actually might say, who's doing a bit of drifting right now through the penultimate corner as well. So it doesn't look how he's going to prove. Boyaraxa, Gaza and Tinnis are your top 3 then, unless anyone else can improve. Well, we're looking at Skull. Let's see. So far, 12. He's only got to find 12,000 to get himself into P11. And that is Wolf just up the road. Wolf does not improve, I do not believe.
Yes, he does actually. He goes 4th.
He does go 4th. My apologies there. Skull, does he improve? He does not. Who's next to cross the line? We've got ESS, I think Camo.
There's another car coming round.
Jazzman, is that... It's not Wolf. I'm trying to... Is it Kevin Myers? It must be. So Kevin Myers then through the last corner in the Technicolor Dreamcoat of Technicolorness. So far, last position on the grid. Can he get himself off the last row? The answer to that is no. But
yes, he did. He goes 40. Well, yeah. It's unfortunate, but it's still a position. Coco not having a great time, is he?
Across the hill, the Audi. Ferrari not doing good, but what about the other Audi, the 5th Audi? So far, the 3rd highest on the grid. And let's see where can ESSA go on this grid. The answer to that is going to be only 9th position then, it looks like, because everyone else has finished their lap time. So, Boyrats are on pole position here in Algarve, here in Portugal. Gaza in 2nd, Tinnis in the house is in 3rd, and very much in course to be trying to chase down Gaza. Wolf ahead of Apano, then comes Jab. Jazzman in 7th, ESS in 8th. Leonardo down in 9th position, ahead of Big Kid Daddy in 10th position there. Disappointing for him, he's straddling right now in the other Lamborghini, ahead of Camo, Scold, and then Vectra. Behind them, Kevin Myers and Coco Pops down at the back of the breakfast cereal are available, Ethan. And you've got to wonder, though, Coco's going to be getting a bit soggy. Normally it goes in milk. Do Coco Pops right now, it's a bit in water, and I don't think that's very healthy for food.
No, it's not. Breakfast don't go in water, it goes with milk. Lando Norris would be very happy with that. But yeah, they look down, well, just a part of the straight, because the rest of it goes downhill with you. You can just see the gradient drop there.
Yeah.
It does extend the braking zone quite a bit because it's downhill. And it's quite sudden, the braking zone as well. But they are going to be braking a little bit earlier for turn 1. I can imagine they're going to be quite cautious through there. But a part of me can just see potentially an accident, whether it be in the midfield, at the back or up front. It's yet to tell, but I just have that sinking feeling inside me because the wet always does tend to cause some issue. Well, obviously drivers have to have their wits about them and trying to avoid contact, but sometimes it is just unavoidable, and I think that might be the case today. I reckon some people may get caught out. I just don't know who it's going to be. It could be someone in the championship fight, it could be someone who isn't, but in their own battle in the championship standings. We're yet to see. 32 laps ahead of these drivers, Evil. The last race for AOR, well, of the GT3 Season 14 season in 2019, the final race of the decade. Is it going to be emotions like Hockenheim, as well as in Germany, F1 2019, Hockenheim, that was a great race in the wet. Is it going to be like that, or is it going to be drivers spread out across the track and it's going to be incredibly snoozy, or is it going to be a fabulous race? Let's find out. We're sinking, Evil. AOR formation lap.
Are we going to see sunshine and happiness, or are we going to see rain and more rain? I fear it might be a bit more than just rain, but it's almost a deluge out there on the circuit right now. But Bioreactor will lead them away then on their formation lap from Gaza then. Behind them, Tinners. He needs to outscore everyone up the road, and he needs to win this race. Gaza needs to finish down there in 4th position. Remember, if Gaza wins and outscores everyone else by my calculations, 23 points, he will be champion here today. So he needs everyone else, to Tinners and Boyraxa, to have an absolutely shocking race and finish down there in 13th and 12th position. And that is going to be a tall order indeed. So let's hope no fake bad happens. Let's hope it goes to the final race. But that is the stakes. Those two really need to win this race, at least Tinners and Boyraxa. Boyraxa pretty much has certainly needs to win this race if he has a chance towards the final race. Remember, double points on offer as well. So if they manage to get themselves within 10 points and then win the last race, they will win the championship. And remember though, it is 70 points up for grabs, so it's not all over yet. Remember, pretty much everyone, I think, down to even, I say that, Jazzman has a chance if something catastrophic happens in Spa, he has a chance still, Ethan, of winning this championship.
He does, yeah. I mean, Jazzman well out of position. He's going to have a lot of time getting through this field. But it's too early to say yet. We just got to see what happens here, because anything can happen in racing. And when the wet's here, that literally anything could happen. So Malaysia 2009. When the rain came, it came hard, and it's raining here today, and it's only going to get wetter and wetter here at Portimao Algarve as the cars round the second to last corner. They are forming up 2 by 2, 50 miles per hour. Achingly slow for these guys. It may feel like an entire year is about to fly by them. They're currently in 2019. They may feel they're at the end of 2020 by the time they get here. In fact, Boy Raxa going a bit too fast. He needs to be careful. He's not going too fast. He does let off there. But here we go for the final race of the decade. Round 9 of GT3 Season 14 PS4 Tier 1. The final race before Christmas. The final race before 2020. We're here at Portimao in the wet. Boy Raxa on pole. Who is going to win here today in this prestigious 32-lap race? As the guys are absolutely everyone on track. A messy start.
And they're underway, Ethan. And
They
it's
are.
a good start from Boy Raxa. I'm not sure what happened there. They were all out of position then. Through turn 1, look, Gaza. Was that Wolf, I think, got himself onto third position there. He's battling away with Tinner through turn 1 they go. Are we going to see it clean through turn 1 though? That's a question. 1-2 cars a bit wide in the foreground, but I think everyone clean away. Kevin Myers down the back. Vectro scored up a few positions as well, but it's Boy Raxa leads them away then down through turn 2 and 3, down towards the VIP section. Gaza in second, then comes Tinnert, then comes a bit of a gap there. Up the inside goes one of the Audis, that's Papano on the inside of Wolf. Wolf then trying to cover the inside line. He's going to get squeezed out there because of the water, and he is very much squeezed out. The both of the green cars there battling together. That is Camo in ESS down the back. Wolf and Papano still battling together. Papano having a bit of contact. Wolf off the circuit there as well.
That's
on the inside comes Jazzman through.
Oh
and
no,
contact
jumps round. Oh dear, sorry to cut over you. Yeah, that one of that looked like a bit of just people unaware. Oof, jam. Nearly collecting Vectro on the exit there. But yeah, it looked like Papano just turned in on Dylan as Dylan was coming up the inside. Just a bit of a messy start, really, isn't it? Like they were all over the place on the start-finish line, coming to the acceleration zone, and they're just all over the place. Very messy start. If I was real, as Lewis bumps Big Kid Daddy there out of the way, but if I was a race director, that I would have called for a second formation lap. I would not be impressed with that type of form up on the start. That was horrible. Standards there as Vectro shoves Jam off the road. A lot of contact. It is wet racing, admittedly, but you just got to be careful they don't pitch each other around. But the first lap's done. That's Jazzman up there. He's defending from
Wolf.
Dylan, battling with Dylan.
Up in 4th position so far as up. Camo up the inside. Hana, everyone else behind though. Looks very much they've got 3 Jam behind Vectro right now. Vectro very wide, I might say. That's going to allow Jam and all the race an optimistic driver. Meanwhile, that's Scold, and I think contact there with Big Kid Daddy. I think it was, yes, indeed. The Big Kid Daddy there getting a bit of a twitch, and Scold, and he's had a bit of experience in the wet right now. He's pushing himself to the limit. He says he doesn't know next season if he'll carry on, so it's going to be almost goodbyes. Oh, he's in the back!
Dear.
And running into the back, and it is goodbyes to the rear end of poor old ESS. He's going to be very lucky if that is not a lot of damage indeed. And he's been playing a lot of different games recently, like Gran Turismo, and characteristically making a mistake in the wet. And that is costing him a bit of time. But look at the top 3 for me from there running away.
They are running away, exactly, yeah. Well, more admittedly the top 3, but the person who is running away is Boy Raxa. He's doing what Jazzman did in France. Just pulling the gap. They need to be careful though, because apparently, I didn't know this, but apparently this might be a thing in Project Cars 2. There's a certain threshold of the wet weather tyre that if you burn it away too fast, the tyres wear off a lot more quickly. So some of these drivers need to be careful they don't use the wet tyres too early. Which Lewis getting a really horrible tank slapper there. if that was a puddle, I couldn't see it. There's a lot of spray coming off these cars. Even at 70 miles an hour, that is a lot of spray. Lewis does not look comfortable. He needs to be careful. I can sense that rear end's going to snap on him and he's going to get sent across the track. You saw what happened to Esther at Hockenheim evil, and look who's behind Lewis. It's Big Kid Daddy. He's had a few.
Don't tell me.
He's had a few first smacks, hasn't he?
Yeah, Big Kid Daddy's having a look. Look, the ball's slithering to the inside. Big Kid Daddy on the inside. Let's see. Lamborghini should easily trounce that Audi. Lewis is no slouch on the brakes. Big Kid Daddy's far too late on the brakes. He's not even made the corner and gets back on the circuit. That'll be Leonardo. Goes up the inside. Leonardo has a look at Skold. Skold almost makes contact there as well. And Big Kid Daddy says, thank you very much. I'll go back round the outside and does straight back through then.
Leonardo's back at him.
Yeah, Leonardo's back through though. Side by side.
Vectro's lost it. Vectro's lost it in the background.
Yeah, big off. And that's damage. And want to be careful there. And that's again, and that is a long afternoon for Vectro, Skold, and Leonardo battling together. That was Big Kid Daddy, my apologies there. Up the inside into the left-hander, down the hill they come, bang, there you go. Bit of contact there, they want to be careful. Leonardo on the inside, don't take up Big Kid Daddy again. He's having a torrid couple of races. Don't want to have another one with him in the gravel. And let's just hope it all ends well behind him. Look who it is, it's Jam, who is also a driver who was the driver at contact, I mean, last week as well. So this is almost bad open to Big Kid Daddy. He's got cars absolutely everywhere.
He certainly does. There's a lot of door-to-door contact. Rubbing is racing, but there's rubbing and then there's bashing, and then you don't want to see the bashing as the gap up front reduces slightly. The two Mercedes are pulling away. It's Big Kid Daddy's lost the rear end.
But luckily, no damage done this time.
It will hurt his tyres though, won't it?
Yeah, well, I suppose it's not what he wants. Again, going from bad to worse. And if it can't go bad this season, it's gone even worse. Right now, meanwhile, Jazzman's in.
Who's that?
Yeah,
is that Jazzman?
It is. He's gone for that early stop. That 4. Now he's going for the undercut. He knows
apparently it's powerful, isn't it?
Let's see. Anyone else coming in? I think anyone else has come in here. In the background, that is Big Kid Daddy in.
Yeah.
Both of them, of course, Vector is forced in the pit lane because he's got damage. Don't count him out low in this race. Though, with the damage, it could be interesting. Talking about drivers low. The Audi right now, Camo.
Very good, isn't it?
Then behind him, Pano, and then ESS, then Skold. So all the Audis right now in, as per usual, their Audi line, I suppose. It happened last week, Ethan, at Hockenheim, and they were all just stuck together.
Trend. Yeah, it's a trend. Admittedly, this is the first time we've seen a Audi in the top 5 for a while. Whether it's going to come through to the end of the race, we don't know. Does look like the Audi's got the edge at the moment. I mean, obviously Jam was running quite high, but then just lost it on the exit of just the second of these double right-handers. He just lost it on the exit here. This is where he lost it. Currently sitting behind Leonardo. But looking at the pace, Boyrak's definitely lapping fast. This is Vectro still in the pit lane. That was a hefty hit then, I imagine.
Well, it was a front, so much the front engine damage. Meanwhile, Wolf pulling away with Camo, so that is really the second battle. Then we've got the deluge of Audis, 1, 2, 3 of them. And then comes Leonardo, a bit of covering there almost there, and he's want to be careful to get the puddle there that forms on that corner, because I'm be doing that, wondering, is any of these top guys coming in the pit lane?
I doubt they will.
They're all staying out, they're all going to follow each other. And we'll see if anyone else in the background we see. We'll keep an eye on it here. No one else in the back. And there's Wolf popping over the top of the hill. Then behind them then, you can see them all straggling away down the course. And that is back there. That's Cam, that's Pano. Battling away with ESS. ESS around the outside. One who knows how to go on the brakes very easily. He's been very much trying to lay on the brakes, but made a few mistakes. Right now doing okay in 6th position and holding and passed, I might say. Now ESS, so he's got ahead of him, and ESS trying to get a better line there, but cannot do it. And those puddles very much catching drivers out. As you can see Papana running wide. He won't be careful to do it too much. He's got himself a penalty.
Yeah, well, the game, it might not, because they're going so slow, the game might not register it as a penalty, but because it's on stream, they can still get caught on it. Just something that's drawn my attention is the top 2. Boyvax and Gaza, admittedly, evenly matched teammates, lapping the exact same lap. and Tinner's only 40 thousandths of a second off of him. Well, faster than him even. So those top three are running very, very nicely indeed. And then Dylan and Camo just a little bit slower in their own little gap, like in a little pocket for them. And then we've got Papano and Essa behind them, with Lewis also coming up to the back, and he's only 4 tenths behind Essa as well. So this three-way battle of Audis is going to grow, and it's probably going to last for quite a bit until one of them decides to pit in and try and force the others to go a little bit longer or respond to that. Coco's done quite well, and Kevin, they've jumped a few positions, also, although people like Jazzman, Big Kid Daddy and Vectra have all pitted and all that, so they have gained a few free positions through this final corner. Flat out in the dry, not in the wet. You can do about 125 through there in the dry.
I thought was that. Well, I thought one car was coming the pit lane because they were very much to the inside. Last time wrong. Oh, there we go. Again, battling together. Beautiful exit this time for me, says. He needs to be on the inside though. Let me see. Can he go around the outside? This time he does. He clears around the outside, but he runs a little bit wide. Papano says, I'm going to go even wider, and he's going to try and come through on the outside. Can't do it. And a little bit trying to be sneaky there. Did not work at all. And now he's going off the circuit again. He's trying everywhere he can. That's cost a bit of time. And Scold, who now
he's got a better drive.
Going to get exit, and he'll sliver up the inside. Papano will try and cover him. But Scold should just be able to sliver on down the inside. Then on the brakes as Scold as he spin the car low. He gets it just stopped, but not good enough because Papano says, oh, thank you very much, my friend. I'll have that. Scold is going to fight back though, down towards on the right hand of that. And then C, down towards Samson. Bit of contact there. Papano wanted to turn, couldn't do it. Scold down into Samson, now up to 7th position.
Where is this from, Lewis? This is the old Lewis that I remember. This is the person that I remember being formidable in the wet weather at Fuji.
Sorry to call over you. Jazzman's laptop.
Yeah, well, he's on admittedly fresh tyres, which are going to wear out towards the end of the race, Eve. Of course, he's going to be faster. It does make sense, but he's going to suffer on the end part. I think he's undercut too early, personally. But just coming back to Lewis, that's the person that I remember lapping really fast in the wet, and we're seeing a part of that again. I mean, look at him compared to the guys he's racing with, Papano and Essa. He's lapping just as fast as Cameron and Wolf, so Lewis does have the potential for a top 5, which is good to see. He's dispatched of one of the Audis, Essa's next. Just doesn't want to use the tyres too much as Dylan comes in. So he's bitten the bullet a little bit later than the other guys. I think this is the time to come in, around these laps, around laps 8 to 10. I think that's the time to come in. Lap 4 I think was way too early unless Jazzman picked up some damage, because I think lap 4 is way too early.
Kevin Myers meanwhile deciding he wants to have a little look up the inside down towards turn number 1. Lid on the brakes. Ferrari's going to be squeezing himself out wide if he's not too careful. Fair play though, he kept around the outside, but now coming towards turn number 2, Kevin Myers should have the inside line now and should just be able to squeeze out that Ferrari off the circuit. Does do so, but the Ferrari, the valiant little beast it is, says no, 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 I'm not letting you through, my friend, and stays out. And Jazzman is ahead of Wolf, so the undercut is working, but Jazzman off the circuit, so is Wolf. And Jazzman, like fruitfully, he's got that position ahead where he needed it.
Yeah, but he hasn't come out far ahead of Dylan though, has he? And he's on older tyres. And that car is going to go for, and the Lamborghini will use the rear tyres a lot more than the Mercedes. The fronts will struggle a little bit more, but I'd rather have a car that can maybe understeer a little bit more than have horrific oversteer on exits and entry because of the rear tyres. Obviously all that weight on the rear of the cars is going to be the exact same for the Ferrari and Audi. Those guys are going to really struggle towards the end of the race, and I think Jazzman, I think he's pitted way too early personally. I think he may see that bite him in the long run.
Yeah, bite him in the long run indeed. Papano meanwhile, he's made a mistake somewhere because he's now down in 9th position. He was running ahead of all these guys. That means Leonardo up into P7, being chased low by an Audi. And we don't obviously say an Audi's going and chasing a Lamborghini, but right now it is, as Papano rather taking a more a conservative line for the last corner there, and Leonardo. We'll just be comfortable ahead of Jam for the time being. We know Jam is quick. We know Leonardo, though, for 53.9, 53.2, almost 8 tenths out. But again, look at Jazzman. We'll keep an eye on him. He's coming through the last corner now. These guys, 51.3s. Let's see what Jazzman's going to do. Battling away a Wolf down the back. Now put each other along. Theoretically, this should be around about 151. Yeah, 51.2. So
he's having the exact same pace, yeah.
He's having the same pace, but he's what? How was fast? 43 seconds. About what? Dylan was about 4 seconds off the pace of 5 seconds. So he needs to find about 4 or 5 seconds in terms of raw pace to get ahead of these guys. Remember, of course, that was only to the leader. And remember, Tinnis is around about 4 seconds. He's chopping off the pace as well now in the other Lamborghini as Leonardo coming all sorts of pressure right now by Jam, who's rather wanting to get past, I imagine, the Lamborghini.
Yeah, Jam certainly will be. Dylan was lapping actually just high 51s, low 52, so Dylan actually did have quite good pace, so he will definitely be able to go on that pace soon. But I think, yeah, you can see Jazzman's already lapping just as fast as the guy is up front, so while he's able to... Who's coming in? Tinnis. You reckon it's Yeah. He does come in. So it's going to be interesting.
He has to react. I suppose he's reacting more to Wolf right now, because if Wolf starts banging in very quick lap times as well, he can lose 1-2 positions. So let's see where he comes out. There's Papano, very wide. We're going to be doing that too often.
Lewis is in as well.
Lewis in and D. Let's see, Tinnis. Long stop. So he's even taking on fuel. That's he's going to come up behind them. He's going to come up way behind them, I think. No, that's no. My apologies. That isn't Jazzman coming through. Jazzman's coming through the last corner. So let's see. It's a long pit lane, and these guys are becoming a lot quicker. If he gets to the line around about now, that'll be good. He's been on the throttle now. He is on the throttle now. The cars behind are just coming, but it's not enough so far. So that almost confirms that the top guys are going to be staying safe. But by how much is it? Not a lot indeed, is it?
No, these guys have come out quite close to each other, considering the fact Jazzman was a fair ways off Tinnis. But like I said, Jazzman, he's got the oldest tyres on. Well, he won't have the oldest tyres on track, but when everybody else is pitted, Jazzman will have the oldest tyres on track. So it's gonna be interesting to see in about another 10 laps time what happens. See what Boy Rax or Gaza do. Are they going to come in, or are they going to stay out for another lap? I think they're just rounding the final corner. Yes, they are. Looks like Boy Rax is staying out. What about Gaza? Staying out. They always seem to do the long run, don't they, these two?
Well, you got to wonder, let's hope it doesn't bite. Do they know the undercut strategy is so powerful? Meanwhile, notice Jam still battling away with Leonardo. These two are... we've seen in the last couple of races, these two battling a little bit. They had a bit of a race in Hockenheim before Jam had his big off, and remember, of course, about big off Spectro, who had that monumental off through the last corner. There's Papano. Oh, bit of a tax up there through the last corner. He's pushing his luck through the last corner, and it will snap on him eventually, won't it, if he's not careful?
Yeah, the curves are going to be very, very wet here, especially the AstroTurf on the outside. It's just better to keep the car on the inside the white lines, because I mean there's a lot of runoff at the final turn. Is quite wide on the left hand side, but if the car snaps back to the right, he's going to end up hitting a wall potentially, so he just needs to be careful. Nobody else has come into the pit lane yet, so nobody else is biting the bullet. Look at the size of the puddle down here. Look at the line they're taking, so far away from the apex.
They're struggling to get the front end in any sort of grip, and those two, by the way, the top two, that's coming through sector 2, because you can see the blue dot, that's Vectro, who's a lap down, and if it's a red dot, normally means they're up the road a lap ahead, so that's how we know Vectro is not a lap down yet, but getting close to it. Jam having a look up the inside there. This is into Craig Jones. That'd be a pretty place to go on the inside. He's done it. Yeah, Leonardo's back way off. That's a bit too much for Papano. He is always a slippery little bugger. Up the inside he goes and gets the position then. So He's being a little slippery one, and down the inside it goes on to Misium and its finest there, and he is through up into now 6th position. Leonardo, being cautious, has cost him 2 positions really, in the space of what? 300-400 meters.
I wonder if Leonardo may have actually gotten a warning and decided to lift off. Because I don't think he'd lift off that much to let Jam through. I think that may have actually been a slowdown.
Right, meanwhile, Wolf, Jazzman, and then up the road there is Tinus, and let's see what their pace is compared to the top guys. 51.7, 51.1, so 50.9. Tinus has a chance to come out in the lead of this race, you know.
He does, and so does Dylan, but Dylan's stuck behind a Lamborghini with older tyres than him. And Dylan, does he want to use his tyres to get by, or does he want to save his tyres behind him? Because Dylan can save his tyres behind a slower car, but potentially risk being slower. As you can see, Tinus doing 50.5s, like what Jazzman was doing at the start of his stint. But that's slowly going to drop off again. But you see Dylan having to lap slow because of the slower car in front of him. But Dylan may be actually doing that purposely.
And this is Jam and Papano. And these two have been coming together in previous races. Two very similar livery cars, and want to be careful as Leonardo very, very close behind poor Papano right now.
No, Papano's... Oh wait, never mind. I thought it just said Papano was behind him for a brief moment then.
For a second I saw that as well, but alas, telemetry saying otherwise, and side by side that's the exit of the hairpin, and that there Leonardo getting a little bit too close for comfort there for a brief second. Had to back off of that one. Doesn't want to hit, and top 2 in.
Yes, top 2i, and they do match each other.
And this is covering off. This has got to be covering off from Tinus then. There's no excuse. So Tinus has only had what 1-2 laps, so that's 2 seconds.
Where is
See how
Tinus
close
at the
he
moment?
is. Tinus, he'll be coming through the last corner sooner rather than later. There he is. He's behind. That is Kevin Myers and Coco. Those two could actually play in dividends here in this battle. If they do not come in, they are going to be in all sorts of positions where these top 2 do not need them to be.
Yeah, it is true. Yeah, Coco and Kevin probably going to go out late, as Camo, Esther, Jam, all of those guys have not come in. Boyraxa and Gaza, I believe they may come out ahead of Tinus, or it's going to be close. Boyraxa may not, Gaza may not.
It's been very close.
He hasn't, he's between them.
Is he through? Yes! Yes, through into P9 then. He's ahead of Gaza. It's worked, and looky, they're all caught up behind there. But
Gaza's going around the outside.
Back around the outside. As Tinus got an issue there, he's going very slowly all of a sudden, and Gaza... He compromises his line. I'm not sure what happened. Tinus decided he looked like he backed off. Was there contact there? It didn't look like it. But they're back through, and looking behind. Now around the outside. Here we go. He'll be squeezed off the road. No way, Jose. You're going to come through there, Sonny Jim. And that's it back.
Boyraxa's already getting past Kevin. That's a good thing to do.
Doesn't want to be stuck behind too long. But Gaza now battling with Tinus. Tinus, really, I don't know what happened there. Either he got a mistake or something there on the brakes. He just seemed to not manage to get any momentum there. And straight around the outside went Gaza, and like stealing candy from a baby, I might say.
Yeah, just the 2 behind him as well, Jasmine and Dylan. Those 2 have come alive now, and these guys have come in. It's all kicking off. Whether Dylan and Jasmine are going to be able to hold on to the back of these guys is a different story. But you can see Boyraxa already slicing his way through. He's past Kevin and Coco, so he's got open track now. Gazza's got to negotiate the 2 drivers. Obviously, this is all for position. They don't have to get out of the way. You can see this is really opening it up. Kevin on the outside line. Gaza just goes right down the middle. Tennis follows him through.
Almost like a hit cliff. Look at that. They've got no
jams in. He's going to come out around Skull potentially, as Coco also comes in.
Kevin Myers can't really come in, look, that's the issue.
No,
he can't pull across, because if he did, he would have been caught all sorts of issues. Now, I think he might have a little look.
He's lifted off to let him by, yeah.
That's what I thought. There was no choice not to do that, because he doesn't want to compromise their battle, so very sportsman indeed. He didn't have to do that, but did do so. And Gaza, right now, really, I think he's holding back right now. Looks like he's not pushing too hard right now. Because, remember, Boyraxa, his teammate, is up the road, and he doesn't want to be careful though. Tinnis, he's always a man who's led on the brakes, and it's a corner you can lunge it. I don't think they will try a little lunge down the inside here, because it'll be very optimistic indeed.
Not in the
not in the wet. They'll end up skating off down towards, you'll go into Spain if you go too deep there. Alas, or they end up in the Atlantic, one of the two. But Tinnis battling his way with Gaza. We're here on lap 14 of 32. That means we have just over 16 and a half laps to go here in the Portuguese Grand Prix. And so far, Tinnis in 7th. This is all the battle though, technically for 3rd, 2nd and 1st position, 5th, 6th and 7th, because the top 4 might I say, yet to come in.
Yeah, very much so. Camo, S, Papano, Leonardo, those guys have not come in yet. Well, never mind. Camo goes exactly against what I just said. It's almost like he could hear me. He does come in. That means Essa is probably going to... Yeah, he does carry on. Papano, what's he doing? Is he coming in? No, Papano stays out as well. Leonardo is following Papano, does not come in. See, now, Gaza and Tinnis, the top 2 in the championship. I think Gaza goes defensive. Fair enough, really Gaza's gone defensive.
He got a bad line, and that ran the outside. Tinnis is pulling ahead, slightly led down towards the braking zone, side by side. Brave ran the outside there, my friend, because Gaza will have the inside. That's not really worked. If I was him, I'd have tried to line up for turn 2 and slip run up the inside. But can't do it. Has to just sit back, and these guys start to battle more and more. And once that little puddle, Ethan, it's completely almost over the circuit right now. That's what I was talking about. That puddle, it really compromises your line. If you get side by side there, one of you are going to have to back off.
Yeah, or you can brave it out and go through the puddle, but... Yeah, I think Gaza may be able to afford to keep Tinnis behind and let Boyraxa carry on, because obviously Boyraxa is in 3rd place. He's a few more points behind Gaza, so if he can afford to stay in 2nd and keep Tinnis behind. Because I don't know what Jazzman's going to do, because I don't know if Jazzman's too fussed about staying behind Tinnis, or he's going to want to get through because of Dylan behind him, because Dylan, either he's saved his tyres and is conserving them, which he is, because he's lapping at the same pace. So his tyres are going to be better than Jazzman, so he could potentially be a thorn in the side of Tinnis here, for Dylan. So it's all kicking off between these 4 here, because Boyraxa's just going to run off like he did at the start.
Yeah, you can see that Boyraxa's rate, what gap is 2 and a bit seconds. Yeah. So he's pulling away as Gaza doing what Tinnis thought he was doing at Le Mans, backing everyone up, and we saw how that ended up in contact and controversy, and let's hope we don't see anything again. But the Gaza this time, a lot better exit through the Gulp's corner as they rise their way up, and you can see the top real 4 in this race of Boyraxa, Gaza, Tinnis, Jazzman and Wolf, all in a big line. So I say almost top 5, might I add, actually there. Remember, you've still got the top 3 technically in this race, still yet to come in. Down the back is again getting more closer there. We've got Big Kid Daddy, he's battling away with Camo, and those just crossing the line around about now. You can see on the mini-map. Yeah, that's looking feisty though in this race. He's always trying to find any opportunity he can to try and get past. Right now, though, just stuck behind, just trying to find the best exit. The Lamborghini, we know it's good on acceleration and grip, but that Mercedes is just the all-round car in most circuits, and right now it just seems to be difficult to pass, and we've seen how difficult that livery's been to pass, because remember, last 2 championships have been won in that car.
Certainly have. ASR Schmidt was 1 and Gaza was last season. I'm not going to place any finger on who it's going to be this season. It could be anyone for all we know, any of the top 4 potentially. Yeah, Gaza's backing these guys up. I'm sure Tinnis has learned from his lesson at France not to pile drive Gaza and cause him to spin out. But as Tinnis got on the AstroTurf and goes wide. Oh dear, that is exactly not what you want to do. I was thinking, why is he going? I didn't say anything because I thought maybe he's just opened the track a bit up more. That hasn't worked. The AstroTurf's going to be slippy and wet, and he's just cost himself a lot of time there. And what's that going to do for Jazzman? Because does Jazzman want to get by him, or does he want to sit behind? Because Tennis can't hold his teammate up.
All that does mean is Gazza is rolling up the road then. And he has a bit of a clean track right now, but not by much, because it looks to me that Tennis has got the pace. And you can see, look, lost 9 tenths on the road, though. Look, by Ratzer, almost a second quicker than these guys.
Exactly, but he has got clean air, though. He has got clean air. Tennis, on the rear there. His car's starting to step out a bit. Jazzman's gone out. There's his tyres. I said, give it a few laps time. And look what's happened. He's started to make mistakes now. His tyres are probably burning off. I had a feeling it was too early, and I think this is the beginning of it now. Oh, his camo's gone off as well. Where's that at? Oh, is that turn 1?
Turn 1. Turn 1 down towards turn 2. He was battling away with Kevin, Big Kid Daddy, so no contact, I don't think. I think he just got a little bit on the curb, and easy to spin the car around, of course. And Tinnis and Wolf are now closing up on each other, and now Wolf's been released.
Dylan up. Yeah, he has been released.
Let's see what he can do then. Skull, meanwhile, now ahead of Camo, and that's battle there 11th to 12th. Down the back of this film, meanwhile, Vectro having a silent afternoon, I might say, there in the Audi. No penalties.
At least he's soldiered on, though, hasn't he?
Yep, he's carrying on his merry way, and you feel sorry for the man. He's having a torrid last couple of the races. Had a horrible accident out of Germany. Again having a struggle here. He's got no pace right now. He, of course, hasn't done too much practice because he hasn't been able to. He has been in London, of course, as ESS comes in the pit lane. And that means, to say the least, Pardo leads then in the Audi, ahead of Leonardo in the other Lamborghini. Behind them, that is Boyrax, your race leader. And then comes Gaza, and then comes Tinnis, and then comes Wolf as well, just sitting a little bit behind. Behind them is Jazzman, who is carrying on his merry way right now, down there in 7th position now.
The driver's running wide there. You got to be very careful, because even though they're probably not even getting any warnings or penalties, doesn't mean the stewards can look at the race again and still apply penalties. The drivers know they're supposed to be sticking inside the white lines. The white lines determine the track limits, not the curbs, and these drivers want to be careful they're not abusing it too often.
Yeah, it says he's going to come out just ahead of Skull, I might say. This is going to be a bit close then, down towards turn number 2 and 3. Skull, is he going to have a little look at the inside down towards the hairpin, I wonder? Let's see, he'll have better brakes.
Oh no, he's hit him.
That's not the brakes he wants to be doing, and that was the wrong type of brakes. And that is Skulled, around he goes, Camo involved. And, well, now, I don't want to say I said he had better brakes, but I did just say he had good brakes, and clearly, Ethan, those weren't the brakes he was looking for.
He braked on the wrong piece of track. He started braking on a curb. That is basically like braking on grass. It's just going to rotate the car around. Oh, it's a rookie error from Lewis. Braking on curbs. You're not really supposed to brake on the curbs in the wet, because they're slippery. His camo's actually picked up a penalty somehow in all of that.
Picked a penalty, and have a look at it.
Really bad mistake there from Lewis. That's a very, very, very rookie mistake. That is 30 seconds. I have a feeling he's over. Right, because you know how Lewis ended up rotating around.
He's gone off the circuit, hasn't he?
He's gone off the circuit and had to overtake Lewis because he had nowhere else to go. And the game's given him a... So that's an unfair penalty, and I'm sure... And that's not fully deserved, because Camo didn't really have any other place to go, because he did get... Because Lewis got caught by Camo, didn't he? And he had to go off the track to avoid him, so... That's an unjustified penalty, that. So that should be taken away at the end of the race, that.
While Vectro, he's not last anymore. So he's overtaken Kevin Myers, so I don't know what's happened to Kevin. I didn't think he came in the pit lane, or has he not got any damage? Doesn't look like it. So Vectro, soldiering on his merry way, he's overtaken a car, and he's not too far behind Mr. Coco then. And well, let's see what happens. Wolf battling away with Tennis, who's closing still back up on Mr. Gaza. And right now, those guys are still battling, and this turning is a bit of a race, Ethan. Oh, and they just can't seem to get past each other, can they?
No, they can't, but it's Dylan who's lapping faster than he needs to. He's saved his tyres, hasn't he? Sitting behind Jazzman, because Jazzman is lapping nowhere near as fast as these guys anymore. I mean, he's actually lapping a second slower than Boyraxa, who seems to be using his tyres. Just gotta be careful he doesn't use them up too quickly before the end of the race, because he could just end up losing all that time again. But Dylan in a very good spot again. He's saved his tyres. He's sitting right behind him. Boyraxa flashing his lights at Leonardo, I believe there. Leonardo not a lapped car, so he's well within his right to defend second position, even though Leonardo should just probably come in now. He's left it quite late now, so I reckon it's a good time to come in.
Bono in. So I imagine he will come in. No, he's staying out.
Leonardo stays out. Okay, strange. Well, Leonardo well within his right to fight. Boyraxa now for the lead. This championship battle is going to go down to the wire again, Evo, and it looks like it could go into the final race, which we all want.
Yeah, indeed it can. Kevin Myers having a look on Virtua still, so Venture seems not up. Kevin Myers did come in the pit lane then, so that's why. And here we go then, Boyraxa. This should be pretty easy, I imagine. Which way is he going to go then?
We don't know. Leonardo was once a tier 2 driver. I'm sure he wants to get his elbows out. That Lamborghini's actually quite good on the acceleration and straight. He was able to open up a bit of a gap there. But Leonardo on old tyres, but he's holding his own, and it's good to see. It's good to see some of the drivers who aren't up at the front mix it out with these top guys. It's good to see what they're made of.
Yeah, indeed. I don't think it's going to last too long, though, because I think Boyraxa, he doesn't need to do anything risky. He doesn't need to be dangerous right now. He just needs to take it slow, patient, methodical. Just think your move out. Don't go for something silly that you'll regret later on. That's what he's probably thinking, because he's leading this race comfortably now by around 3 seconds. He knows Leonardo will have to come in the pit lane, so he just needs to try and figure out where the optimal line is to come through. And that is going to be risk-free.
He is losing a lot of time now. It's 1.5 seconds down, wasn't it? He's lapping so much slower because of Leonardo now, but that's just racing. He's got to do what he can with the situation that's been given to him. Is Leonardo going to come in now, or is he going to stay out?
Well, what he's doing is, let's see, is he coming in? No, he's
yes, he is. Yes, he is. So
late,
yeah, but it's done. That's unleashed Boyraxa now. He would have saved his tyres a bit sitting behind Leonardo. So you see, 2.2 seconds he lost just from sitting behind Leonardo for that amount of time. So that gap's well and truly come down from 3 seconds, Evil. So it's opened up everything up again.
Very much has, as Skuld and Camo closing back up. Skuld has completely lost all kinds of pace right now in this race, down in the 53s. Camo, last lap, was a 2 minutes, so I'm not sure what's happened there. But at last, a big drop off there. Leonardo comes back up. Where's he? That's Big Kid Daddy. Down towards turn number 1 and 2. And I think he's just going to stay ahead for the time being of the of a Lamborghini, the Vodafone Cup, stuck behind the shadow black. Almost playing. It was be careful because you look at the puddle there. Oh,
it's almost across the track. Almost across the track, isn't it? Well, I thought I said about 75% of the track. That's nearly all of it. That's about 90% of the track there.
Now these drivers are going to be very treacherous indeed. And I imagine a few of them are going to be a little bit agitated of that water, because we know how easy a car can get up on it. And not pretty much now, Ethan, you can't do anything about it.
No, you can't. No, it's just rain, and a bit more rain. It's just not going to stop. And obviously, the drainage system, I mean, apparently this is a thing. There's a lot of apparent things on project cars, but something does come to mind. Apparently, the drainage systems, like you see drains on the curbs and all that, apparently they do work on this game. I heavily disagree, because I'm sure there'd be some drains on some of the banked corners, especially that hairpin. The water does not seem to be disappearing at any point, so back to the drawing board with that one. Slightly Mad Studios and Code Masters, get your drainage systems working, please. See Dylan sizing up Tinnis there, moving out of the slipstream just to give Tinnis something to think about. As Tinnis actually goes wide, track extending. Dylan keeps him well within the track. see Tinnis' car seems to have a little bit more oversteer, probably a characteristic of the Lamborghini.
Yeah,
it goes wide again.
Really, isn't it? This is literally one car gap you can get through there, so there is no chance to go side by side on it, because I fear they're going to do that. They're taking each other all off. 2 seconds, meanwhile, 2.4, give or take, separated. Well, a bit more than that, give or take, but these just under 4.5 seconds separates the top 4 in this race. Behind them, Jazzman sitting very lonely down there in P number 5. He's got no one near him. His nearest car to him, that's Big Kid Daddy, Leonardo, ESS, Papano, Jam, Camo and Scold and their Audi entourage. Behind them, Coco is at a more lonely position. Behind them, there you can see Vectro, who's coming through the last corner. And behind them, Kevin Myers, who, let's see their lap times difference, I believe, closing up by just about a second lap. So those two won't be battling too much in the distant future. Tinnis, right now, stop behind the leader. Well, stop behind second, might I say.
Oh, never mind, he's lost it. That went well before the apex. Well, there goes his tyres now. That's not good for the championship. That went way before the apex. That was the rear axle just locking up. And when I said about the oversteer on the car and the rear tyres wearing out a bit more, it started happening, hasn't it?
Yeah, they're starting to struggle, and you got to wonder what's Jazzman and Wolf like. They're on even older tyres, and we saw Jazzman made a mistake not long ago. Rear end stepped out. I remember they start overheating the wet. They don't cool down very easily in the wet. You imagine they'd be nice and cool, but reality is they'll be very, very hot indeed, and almost hot as a hot dog. And they are very nice indeed as well. Well, ESS right now in their Audi train, doing an okay job. You can see there's 1, 2, there's the third one behind them. Let's see, is there another rally behind? I believe it's going to be a little bit of a gap. And then there comes the second couple of Audis. That is Camo, Scold, and then Postcoco and Vectro in the Ferrari, and the other car of Kevin Myers in the Lamborghini. Right now, Boraxa leads this race, keeping it nice and comfortable. He's got just under 10 laps to go. He is, 22 points behind the championship. This will bring it down to 17 points.
Dylan's disconnected! Oh my gosh! After being gifted third place, the gods have taken it away. That's disappointing to see that. And that's a good streak gone there, isn't it?
Yeah, he was having internet issues all week. And I imagine there's only going to be explicit words.
Well, Jazzman's lost on the curve.
And again, the water coming down here, and they're starting a struggle. And alas, poor old Wolf. You know what this means, Big Kid Daddy, who's having a torrid season, finds himself at P5.
Yeah, well, this is going to help Jam as well. Jam's tied with Dylan. Dylan's not even going to score any points.
Yeah, it was
so disappointing.
And you got to imagine that must have been a router issue, because he's been having a bit of an issue with that recently. But alas, his streak is over.
Yeah, now was it gifted P3, and then all just taken away like that.
Yeah, like Thanos, he snapped his fingers, and off he went to the midst of the darkness of the disconnect button. And unfortunately, that happens. And that was a weird analogy, I know. Meanwhile, Jam is battling away. That's his teammate just up the road there. That's behind him. That's Camo. And Jam, is that not? No, that's Camo and ENS back together that the camera angle was picking up. And that is Jam and Papano we're seeing. So, everything's confusing. Behind them, Vector, that's Skull. Where's Vector in all this? He's getting caught more and more by that very quick Lamborghini, who is, to be surprised, not closing up as quick as I imagined it would be.
It's dropping off a bit again. There was 2 attempts between them last time around. What's it this time? Probably going to be quite similar. Have a look. 53.4. Never mind. I was quite wrong. Kevin laps faster. Just looking at the top 3. Yeah, Jazzman's nowhere near the pace, is he? He's dropping off severely. Big Kid Daddy actually quite quick as well, 51.6s. it's just a shame there's such a big gap between Big Kitty and Jazzman, because they could have quite a neat battle, but unless Jazzman keeps spinning out, that could actually happen, because there's not much of a gap between Big Kid Daddy and Jazzman now. It's about just over 10 seconds, so if Jazzman has another spin like that, like he did just like we saw, that guy's going to slowly come down. His Jam's lost it on the exit of that corner as well.
That's a weird place to lose a car. I've not seen that for a long time indeed. He got on the curb, and he didn't even get on the curb, he just spun it.
Apparently, well, yeah, just a word from Dylan. He believes there's a Project Cars issue because he hasn't had any issues with his PlayStation Network or internet connection, so he solely believes it's a Project Cars issue. Could be potentially that. We have no way of telling, but either way, it's disappointing to see. Look at that, that's some defence and a half.
Yeah, he's not going to be under pressure too much. We know the Audi's quick, but that Lamborghini surely's got a little bit in it. Arsenal there just to remain ahead. Though if it doesn't go too wide, which it does, just about get on the circuit, he might just remain there, but not for long, as Papano thinks about going around the outside, doesn't do it. Leonardo loses the rear end, just about keeps it on the island. There's a bit more of a sideways moment. That puddle now completely off the circuit entirely. Papano looking for the inside here on that 25 of 32. And is Leonardo going to have a little look backwards of Papano? But Papano is not going to come through that. Just has to sit back. It's time being. Just relax. Have a little bit of a chill. Collect this nice water coming down from the sky. Cool your tyres down. And then go back at it, Ethan, I suppose. Isn't that what it is? Race, rinse and repeat, and then not spin.
Pretty much, yep. You see, Papano got a massive drive out of that corner. Is it enough though? Leonardo slows down again.
He
doesn't seem to be confident, does he?
No, there's nothing there. He's got no grip, not at all. And Papano, fair play to him, clean around the outside. Second time he's done it on that car. So Leonardo, who's struggling more than a cross-channel ferry right now into that corner, is stuck behind poor old Papano right now, who has cleared him. He's in a speedboat right now compared to him. Talking about speedboats. Boyrak's up, Gaz up, and that's Tinnis. Top three.
So lap, didn't he, last lap as well?
52. Getting caught a little bit right now by Jazzman. He's 4 seconds. Remember, look, what this does mean, it'll be 17 points between those guys. And I think Tinnis, who is what? He was 17 points coming into this round. 18. So, saying that, Boyraksa, Gaza, and Tinnis will. Boyraksa and Tinnis should be separated by one singular point.
It'll be very close going into the final round, yeah. It's going to be. I really hope to see what the points are like after this race. But obviously, it's 2 weeks before we get to see the finale, isn't it?
Off.
Oh, he's hit that puddle, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has hit that puddle. Good spot indeed. I just noticed the car was stopped. And that puddle being devilishly evil, or is it being evilly devilish? That is the question there. And struggling nonetheless. Bardo, who often gets himself up into these noses. And he's a quick driver. He often drives his heart out, but he just cannot stay there. He just seems to struggle. I don't know what it is, but just car doesn't work. The setup just slightly wrong. Just a small touch on the puddle, of course. Nothing you can do in these conditions. It's like a ice pop dipped in engine oil, I might say. There, you get on it, and it's pretty much you just got no control. And it's up to the mercy of the weather gods. And the racing gods as well.
It's strange though, isn't it? Because Papano and Jam, they had really good qualifying pace. Because they were like in the top 5, but it just doesn't seem to be the same in the race. Tinnis actually does a 50.9. Don't know where that's come from.
Fracting his tyres, I suppose, isn't he? He's not pacing right now. He's waiting, and well, receiving course, he's still got, 6 laps to go. And Vectro. And that's Coco Skull's gone off.
Oh,
he has.
Yeah.
And that is... Where's
bad spot. That's on that hill.
That's to start to Craig Jones. So he's done what some others done. He did that early on, so he must have spun that and got stuck there for a long time. So that is very odd indeed how he got stuck there. I'm not sure what happened to him because he was all the way up. He was battling with cameras. He lost.
I think there might be a puzzle on the inside, and they may have gotten bigger.
Yeah, well, we'll find out, of course. In due course. Barno, still battling away, and you can see that puddle there. It's completely off the circuit. There is no way you can get through there, and they're just struggling. They've got no grip. Camo, meanwhile, to be fair of him, has just gone off the road. Kept it going in a straight line, though.
The size of that.
It's a behemoth. The behemoth, we say, in our native land. We'll go on board with Vectre, because he'll be the next car coming through behind Coco, and you'll just see, look at that. There you'll see, through the inside, go right, and look at it.
My lord, that's ridiculous. That's more of it. That's nearly 3/4, nearly a full percentage of the track. You see, Lewis actually catches it and ends up in the gravel. I think Project Cars, you need to sort out your drainage system. Like I said previously, it's causing issues here. You need to get them drains fixed.
Oh yeah, you're right. Look, there's the puddle on the inside.
Papano's lost it. There's the tank slapper. Nesta's got a front row seat of that.
Now that was very interesting indeed. Well, we did mention that corner's difficult. That is exactly where Scold went.
That's after.
Same way.
It's after.
So my apologies. Yeah, just after that. So Scold down as a kid.
Yeah, where they're coming through now is where Scold went off.
Run on board of him then. Let's see. Can we see that puddle? Yeah, there it is.
Look at that puddle there.
Silent assassin, and you can't see it until you go on it, really, can you?
No, not really. Ooh, Lewis actually, something on that car. It's when he's braking, and it's between a transition when he's braking in and changing down. Something just seems to lock up in the diff, or if it's brakes, I'm not too sure, but it just seems to have a slight snap, and I think that's what may be catching him out a few times.
Yeah, indeed, he's struggling. Pad users as well, I've had experience. I'm a pad user myself. Definitely in the way it can become very hard indeed after a long while. By Raxon, meanwhile, 4 seconds up the road from his teammate Gaza. Those two are just coming through the penultimate corner. Behind them comes Tin. As Jazzman's just sitting quietly there, down there. Jazzman's 15 litres. He got enough fuel to make it to the end of this race.
Too sure, actually, it's close. It is. It might be. Ooh, I don't know. Is this a repeat of what we saw at Watkins Glen?
It could be. Well, I think he'll have enough just to coast to the line. He can afford to back off a little bit because he's got a huge gap behind. So imagine he's got everything under control. Yeah, not a lot of action going on right now in this race. Really, the only battle going on is Jam and Papano, who have yet again switched positions, if I'm not mistaken, recently. I'm not too certain but one of them spun a minute ago. Behind them, Camo, and then comes Coco, Vectro, Kevin Myers, and behind them comes Scold, who is last, but last, still carrying on. It is the good spirits. It's coming to Christmas spirit, and everyone's carrying on. No one's retired due to nothingness, and only one who's retired is Wolf, who was murdered by logic of the disconnection button, which is a horrible thing, and no one likes it. But of course, you can't do a lot about it when you disconnect. Unfortunately, a little bit of server, maybe a little bit of this, a little bit of that. A lot of things can go into it. Right now, still Byraxa leading this race. No long to go. He's only got,
3 laps?
3 laps to go. Yeah, 3 laps to go. Jazzman, you can see he's losing way less fuel now all of a sudden. It was 15. Now he's about 12, so he's, about 3 litres a lap.
Yeah, he's using a bit of fuel, because when I saw him crossing the line, I saw 14.7. He hasn't even done a full lap yet, and he's nearly used 2.5 litres, so...
Meanwhile, Vectro, he's spun again recently, because he was battling away with guys up the road, and
now he's with his teammate, yeah.
And yeah, it's gone bad to worse for this team in the last couple of races. He very much has gone downhill very quickly for them indeed.
Yeah, that team's not had a good season, have they?
Oh, someone's off. Is that Papano? Yeah, it is Papano.
Yeah, he's gone off where Lewis went off.
There he is.
He's on the other side of the circuit this time.
Yeah, over the hill, so we couldn't see him. And got on the inside curve, and well, off they go. Well, meanwhile, let's see if we have a little battle between these two then, shall we? We don't often see them close together.
Well, last time we did, one of them went off at the final turn at Hockenheim, didn't we?
Yes, very spectacular, and that was Vectro. So let's hope they didn't see Papano. Meanwhile, caught right back up with Camo, so it didn't take long for those two to catch back up.
Let's see what happens. I sense turn 1 manoeuvre coming up. If Papano is close enough.
Camo good exit though. Papano, be brave. That'll be a bit too brave to come from that far back. He'll only end in tears. But we know turn 2 and 3 though. We always know how good it is. Barney's been comfortable through there this entire race, so he's not really making any mistakes. As I say, makes a mistake. And I have a habit of doing that, but as long as you can just keep with him, because we know he's quicker. He looks a lot quicker. The puddle's almost the entire circuit. Now there is about as much gap as a paper. Now you get a bit of paper in there, and very soggy paper because it's raining. Paper and rain don't like each other. But Parno looking on. Byrax, Gaza and Tinnus, the top 3 still remain the same in this race. ISS battling away with Leonardo slightly. Bit of a lag spike there. Gold is in pit. And I wonder what is that for?
That's
Has he
damage.
got damage? He has got damage. And alas, that means Vetro will beat his teammate yet again. And a horrible season indeed for Loesus, who seem to be getting nothing right now in that car. Nothing right so far this season. If it has gone wrong, it very much will go wrong for Lewis. And if it can go wrong, it has gone wrong. And it's just going downhill. Barno having a big tank slapper there. He's got no grip at all. Those tyres are done. 8.9 litres. I wonder what Jazzman's on. He's on 8.5. And you've got 2 laps to go, so you'll be just about coming in about 4 litres. Give or take in that tank. But really, only battle going on right now. We've got that and ESS and Leonardo then close together, and that is actually ESS behind Leonardo. So Leo
lapped by these guys.
That.
So he's had a big off then somewhere for him to be in the pits that long.
Yeah, he's staying there a long time, and really, I think that's pretty much a retirement, in my opinion, Ethan. I don't think he's gonna. I don't think there's much point in
I actually wonder if he's actually there at the moment. He may have have had a personal issue, maybe. Oh, never mind. He carries on.
And the devil will continue. Maybe he's hard us. Maybe he's like, you know what? I'm going to continue now. That's it. I was wondering, is that the leaders actually coming through the last corner? It is. There they are. So they're beginning their last lap of this race. And Vectro, meanwhile, oh, you know what? They're back together again. So, Vectro and Skuld, that part, but they're together again at last. So, suppose all things end where they started, I suppose, just add a lap between them. And then, to be fair, they're not too far behind. Well, Vector is, and behind this battle here between Camo and that. Bono is gone off the face of planet Zorg. Camo there is in 9th. Jam in 8th. ESS still battling away with Leonardo then. So those two, they've still got a battle potentially. So we'll keep an eye out for this last lap of this race. But they are close. Let's see. I don't believe the Lamborghini should just have it managed, Ethan, I imagine, because we know how quick it is.
Yeah.
Let's see the Audi. He's been taking, what, 3-4 tenths a lap out. He's just under 5 tenths. Because he gets a lot better exit there for the last corner. But it's the exit speed. Leonardo just pulls away. So I don't think that is going to be a battle that it will end in an overtake.
He's too far back. Kevin Meyer and Coco follow each other through into the final sector of the Algarve circuit. Been a decent race. Done a lot of ups and downs, a lot of spins, a lot of... Well, actually not a lot of in contact though.
Yeah, Kevin tried around the outside.
Look at the power he got out of there, but that Ferrari came back across, didn't it?
Yeah, it's not going to do it. The Ferrari's quick, and you won't get any grip around the outside there, Sonny Jim. Behind them, it's got coming through the last corner now. Your not leaders, because that is those two.
Here he is.
But coming through the last corner, then he'll bring the championship down to 17 points. Then here comes Byraxa. He needed to win here today. He's gone and done it then, because he wins then here in Portugal. He wins the Portuguese Grand Prix, and he wins it ahead of his teammate Gaza then. Gaza across the line, he'll finish second position. Behind Lem, Tinners. He needed to win here today. He does not. And with that, that is going to be a tall order coming into the final round indeed. Behind those guys, we've then got Jazzman, who has got damage. Indeed, and he's going very slowly indeed.
Big Kid Daddy's coming very quickly.
And he'll get a very lucky one indeed. Jazzman, though, fourth. Big shout out, Big Kid Daddy, though. Finally,
nearly fourth.
Nearly fourth. After all the torment and troubles he's had this season, finally gets fifth position in this race. Leonardo is going to finish in sixth position. He is going to defeat ESS. That was not really surprised there. That is Jam. Is that Jam? It is Jam coming behind them. Well, that is a lot of pace suddenly there for Jam. I didn't see that before, but Jam's coming like a ballistic missile. He took 5 seconds nearly out that lap. Well, I don't know what happened to those two. Behind them, we've got Camo. We're waiting for him. Then we've got Pano, who's had a horrible race. Then comes Coco. He's still battling away with Kevin Myers, so that battle's not over through the last corner. It could, but I think it might just be Ferrari's day in the sunshine. Here he comes then, Coco. Finished 5th last time in Germany. Will not finish in 5th this time around because he is not possible. He will finish in 11th position, though, just ahead of Mr. Kevin Myers, but not by much. Behind them, we've got Vectro, and then we have Skull then to cross the line, and the last driver to finish then here in Portugal.
Final race of the decade, Evil, for AOR GT3 Season 14. It's been an emotional one. That was an emotional race to top off the end of 2019. Byraxa takes a pretty dominant win there. I'm pretty sure he hasn't got fastest lap. That goes to Tinus in 3rd position. So an extra point. That's a very extra helpful point. That. Not a bad race for him. Sits in 3rd. So the championship battle between the top 3 goes down to the final round at Spa with a 90-minute reverse grid double point race. That's going to be a mega race because all of these guys will be starting pretty much at the back, so it could all kick off on lap 1 at that race. Big Kid Jazzman in 4th. A pretty mediocre race from him. He'll probably think the same. He probably feels he could do much better, I reckon. I think that undercut early in the races hampered him into the long run. Like I mentioned earlier, Big Kid Daddy sits in 5th. Good race from him. Big shout out to you, Big Kid Daddy. Leonardo 6th, Essa 7th, Jam 8th, Papano 9th, Coco 10th, Kevin in 11th, 12th is Vectro. Camo, I think he'll get that 30-second penalty revoked because I do think that's an unjustified penalty because he had to avoid a car and the only way to do that was going off track, so he sits provisional 13th. And Lewis rounding off the finishers of that race in 14th, and Dylan our only and unfortunate disconnect of the race.
Indeed. Well, we're just waiting then for our top 3. Well, one of them's arrived, and that is the man who won this race. Byraxa bring the championship down to just under 17 points then, and you're going to be very happy with that one.
Yeah, I knew going into the race that there was maybe a chance to win, but it had to be a nearly perfect race, and everything nearly went all my way. There was one little issue off the pit stop, but apart from that it was fine, and I just knew that I had to hit my apexes and not make any mistakes.
Yeah, indeed. And we'll get to the puddles later on, but apart from that, you got a pretty decent start, and very odd start as well. We'll talk to some other drivers as well down the back, but everyone was very much out of position there. What was your perspective up front?
I got quite a clean start. I was able to go to the left-hand side before turn 1, and then after that I was just get my head down, drive as fast as I could, and try to do the fastest lap of the race to pull a bit of a gap. I think I pulled about 2 seconds, and then I just kind of got into like trying to do consistent times from there and manage the gap. But I didn't see anything happen.
Yeah. A bit of carnage indeed. Well, just waiting for our second and third place. Well, there's third place, and second place yet to join us. So we'll do it in reverse order. And Tinus in the house. Third position in this race, championship, as my calculations are, exactly as Byraxa, 17 points off of the championship leader. Bit of a struggle there, a bit of a mistake here and there. Just didn't look like the Lamborghini had pace right at the end. Got caught up behind Gaza. Tyres looked like they were struggling. How was it from your perspective?
Well, it was much better than yesterday evening in the practice race, so I can't complain. The only thing was I got a slowdown or an invalid overtake on Gaza, so I had to let him through. Yeah, that was my race. Because if I could stay ahead of him, I maybe could attack Byraxa, because my tires were quite good at that point. Only at the end of the race they were almost gone, and that was why I spun, and yeah, that was my race.
Indeed. Well, we're seeing if Gaz is joining us, but I don't think he has just yet, so we'll shuffle down to a person who's had a relatively kinetic last couple of races and involved in an accident that could have flipped a few drivers, and finally hasn't, as far as I know, had an incident this race, unless I'm mistaken. Because how do you finish fifth finally after what has probably felt like a lifetime of being murdered by Audis? How was it for you out there?
Evening, Ethan. Evil. You're right. Yeah, good. Yeah, I was still avoiding the Audis. But yeah, I'm happy with that. Made an early pit, and that worked.
Yeah, indeed. Puddles out there very treacherous, but going to the start, you were in that kind of melee of cars down there. What was your perspective of that start? Because they were looked at very much from our perspective, they were all out of position.
I don't know about the grid starts, if anybody was out of position, but just before, like, there was a few people being a bit too fast on the warm up, being a bit aggressive, I thought, and then the first few laps in, it was quite chaotic, which is why I actually pitted that early. I was planning to come in about lap 8 or 9, but I thought, yeah, I'll come in lap whatever it was, 4 or 5 was it? Because I was getting bumped a little bit, and yeah, I think I had an issue with me brakes and temperatures after that, and then I slid, and then I'll just come in.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a bit of a few tail-lappy Audis again. So I don't know what it is with that car, but yeah, it just seems tail-lappy.
Well, moving down on topic of tail-happy, we come to Pad on Pad, and we'll start off with the man who did manage to go 2 people in this race. Vectro, who had a very strains off on the curbs around about the first couple of laps, and take us through that incident.
It was really weird. I didn't have that problem anywhere else in the race. I did the same thing over and over again, and then it was fine. But that one time, for some reason, the rear end just went again, and I hit the wall. So that was my race over, I thought. But I didn't stop. I didn't give up, and I could have got 10th or 11th at the end, but I made a stupid mistake in the final corner with those really realistic puddles. When you kind of hit it, the car just reacts so like it overreacts to the puddle. So that was a bit of a spin. And at the end, I got hit by Scald, and that almost could have got me. That almost could have caused me to lose 12th position, because Campbell had a 30-second penalty. I didn't know, but I only got it by 1 second at the end. So it could have cost me another position.
Indeed. Well, talking of Camo, Skulls had a bit of an incident out there today, didn't you? To take us through your many entourages through the water and puddles, and having that incident with Camo.
Oh, I just braked up when they were played, so I just didn't stop. I got a tiny bit of damage, but it actually didn't really affect me.
Cam unfortunately got a 30-second penalty for having to overtake
when
the
was this?
circuit. Was when you spun down turn 2.
Yeah, I got what's the word? Distracted. My mom showed me something on her phone. So, yeah. What?
Very awkward indeed. But had a few spins, Lewis, as well in late stages of the race. So just seems to struggle in the Audi.
No, actually, after that spin with the camo, I just couldn't get the car to grip. So I was just at the back trying to catch my car. That's all. And hit the wall, which I'm glad you didn't get.
Yeah, well, we'll shuffle back up. Gaza, second position in the championship. You have a very good chance next week. All you need to do is score 10 points, and you will be champion because the 2 drivers behind you, 17 points behind. So, got to be a very good afternoon in the office for you, hasn't it?
Guessing he's not here.
Very, very silent words. One word answers, please. Our Kimmy, our very own Gaza Kimmy there. One of many words, but yeah, a very silent race for you, Gaza. Start just didn't manage to get the better of Bioraxu and had a bit of a battle with Tinus coming out the pit stops, but just managed to hold on. So it's really silent race, wasn't it?
Wait, is Gaza here?
Yes.
I can't hear him. So he's not going to be able to be heard on stream.
So unfortunately, Gaza can't be heard. Wow, this is awkward.
So yeah, there may have been some some people talking over each other there. Do apologies, guys. Yeah, I can't hear Gaza.
I don't think so. Well, right. If Ethan's got any questions to the panel.
No, don't have any question. Actually, I do have a question. I have a question. Well, what do you guys plan on doing during the Christmas break then? Do you plan on just blowing off some steam, just chilling out? Or do you plan on getting back on track, trying to make most of the time that you have free to really maximise your points accumulation next race? Because it is double points in 2 weeks' time. So do you plan on getting the most out of it? Or do you just want to relax and chill out during the Christmas break?
I'm going to eat a lot. I can tell you that much.
Sometime between Boxing Day and New Year, I think I'll have a go. And then, yeah.
I think that pretty much sums it up. I think they're all going to eat all the turkey and all the
Christmas.
pigs in blankets and then get racing. I think that's the way to do it.
Indeed. Well, actually, we've got one driver, Ethan. We've got someone to interview. We've got Wolf. We do have Wolf.
Yes.
We have Wolf. Hello, Wolf.
Evening, everyone.
Sorry, we forgot about you there temporarily.
Yeah,
My
it's not
bad.
the first time we've done that, is it?
Disconnected there, but had a very solid race. Battled with Jazzman earlier on. Took an early stop. Gambled on it. Looked like it was paying off when Jazzman had a very Larry spin very close to you. But take us through what was half of your race.
Yeah. I didn't put a foot wrong. I didn't have the ultimate pace this week, but to be honest, it was probably the best race I've raced all season. You know, I picked up when other people made mistakes. I was consistent. I pulled off a fairly good strategy. Could have been a little bit better, but it just sums up my season, doesn't it? You know, I'm having a good race, and then I'll get disconnected, and it wasn't the issue on my end because I had no lag. And I stayed in the party, I was in with Lewis. I didn't disconnect from PSN, so it looks completely to be a Project Cars issue. And it's not the first time it happened the last couple of seasons. And, you know, it's the first disconnection I've had since Tier 4 a couple of seasons ago, so I think it's in it all, really.
Yeah, I had some internet issues earlier on, but it didn't seem that was the cause of the issue, unfortunately. No. But sometimes that happens and you just can't do a lot about it. But, of course, next week, reverse grids. 90 minutes, carnage, Spa, beautiful circuit, beautiful drivers, and us too in the commentary box, who are not beautiful indeed. My voice hopefully doesn't hurt after 90 minutes of that, after in the new year. But that has been it for me and Ethan this decade. Without further ado, for the last time this decade, thank you for joining us here at Apex Online Racing. I've been Evil. Ethan's been Ethan. Thank you to all you beautiful drivers who have joined us here today. Until next decade, take care and indeed enjoy some of the festivity of Christmas. And eat lots of chicken and turkey.
Yeah, very much. Thank you, drivers. And to all the viewers currently, have a wonderful Christmas and a Happy New Year. And we'll see you in 2020 for the final round of AOR GT3 Season 14. Take care and goodbye.